Hey y'all, this is Anne Marie, the Anti-HR HR lady. So today I want to talk to you about 3 ways that HR targets employees who raise claims of discrimination. 2 of them are pretty common and 1 of them you might not necessarily be aware of. But first, who am I? I am Anne Marie, the founder and creator of the Anti-HR HR consultancy, also known as the Anti-HR HR lady. And I provide employee-focused HR advice and tips, and I specifically teach employees how to get employers who are engaging in discrimination to pay them to leave discriminatory hostile work environments. So if that's of interest to you, watch this video, hit the subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube, and subscribe and follow me across social media as the Anti-HR HR lady. Anyway, let's get back to why it's so important to understand how HR deals with discrimination claims. I'm going to talk to you today about 3 ways in which HR targets employees after they raise claims of discrimination at work. So there are 3 ways that HR typically targets employees who raise discrimination claims at work. These aren't the only ways, but these are 3 really common ways. So in my last video where I explained why you needed to be very careful and suspicious of HR investigations, I mentioned HR's common practice of putting employees on PIPs after they go to the organization, or usually to HR or their manager, and complain about discrimination in their workplace, either being perpetrated by their manager primarily or someone else in a position of authority at the organization, right? PIPs is a common way that HR deals with responding to HR discrimination claims. Basically, they target the employee and try to get rid of them by going after them on performance grounds and helping their manager put them on a performance improvement plan and then managing them out of the company. So that's the first way. The second way that HR usually deals with discrimination claims is to otherwise try to get rid of the employee by transferring them to another department or another supervisor, basically what I call the Siberia tactic, where they put you usually in a department that no one wants to work in, or assign you somewhere where no one wants to be, in hopes that you will, throw up your hands and quit. And to them, if they do this, they're killing, 2 birds with 1 stone. 1, they're likely to get rid of you, and 2, they can argue that they solved the problem that you raised by removing you from it, even though they do nothing to discipline the manager, or hold them accountable in any way. They just remove you, again, treating you like the problem rather than dealing with the real problem, which is the racism and discrimination or other problematic behavior in your workplace. And the third way that HR often helps management to target and get rid of employees who raise discrimination claims in the workplace is one that people don't really talk about, but I'm going to pull the curtain back and talk about it. Is oftentimes you will find yourself a member of a group that's being laid off. In other words, they will put you on the layoff list. This often happens in work environments where organizations are always looking for cost-cutting measures because they're not meeting their numbers effectively. In other words, they're not being managed very well. And so a lot of times the first places that organizations look if they need to save money is at staffing, because staffing is usually their biggest expense. So they cut a couple people, they save some money on the quarter, they meet their overall financial objectives for that quarter or that year, okay? And oftentimes they will also in HR use that process to get rid of problem employees. So it works great for HR and the organization in a couple of ways. Usually, if they make you a part of a layoff, they are less likely to negotiate what they're going to pay you to go, even though they will often couple the layoff with some kind of separation agreement in order to buy back any liability or any possibility of you suing them after the fact. So they're going to try to take away your right to sue them on any claim while getting rid of you because you complained about discrimination, but you'll never know it because you'll think you're getting laid off as a part of a larger layoff by the company. So oftentimes you'll complain about discrimination, and maybe 6 months later, the company will have a large layoff and they will include you in it. And you will not even realize that one of the reasons you got on the list was because you went and complained. So this is a very common tactic that is used by employers that a lot of employees don't know about. And I will do a separate video to talk more about how the layoff process is used by companies to target people who raise complaints, especially complaints about discrimination. But I just want to put that on your radar as one of the other ways that HR responds negatively when employees complain about discrimination and help management to get rid of employees. So I hope this little tip was helpful. Again, at the end of the day, I'm not telling you not to complain to HR. I'm telling you to have a strategy before you do. So before you go into HR, you should already know that you are going to likely have to leave if you complain, and you should already be thinking about how you want to go about leaving so that they're not making that decision, you're making that decision. If you're interested in learning more about how to leave a discriminatory hostile work environment with cash and to get your employer to pay you to do it, please grab access to my online course. You can find it on my website. And you can also grab access to my documentation journal, which will teach you how to effectively document, which is the main thing that you're probably not doing or not doing well in your workplace. I hope this tip was helpful. As I always say, HR is not your enemy, but they're definitely not your friend. But I am. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.